MIT. Got skills, I'm a champion.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. It's Friday. It is the 28th of January. And coming up this hour, Linda Stevens is with us. We'll be talking to Aaron Irving and trying to crack a joke or two. Aaron's pretty good at it. I've got some pretty lame jokes that I uncover from time to time. Like, what did I see the other day that I thought was funny, and I don't have it on here anymore.
I like reading the board at La Fonda when you go in, because whoever comes up with, and I asked Betsy one time, she says, oh, people bring me these things, and sometimes I just see them. But the one that was in there, I think now it says, when I tell you that I'm hungry, you've got 23 minutes until I become a different person.
That's a good one.
That's not bad.
That's a good one. I got the Crusoe, the celebrity dachshund, that we like to watch their videos. As a matter of fact, we have our little Crusoe display here in the back of the studio.
Yes.
With Oakley, Crusoe, and Daphne depicted by these lovely stuffed animals here. They do shorts. They do YouTube shorts, which are little 20, 30-second clips because they're trying to be like TikTok. And the dog had his glasses on, and he was typing a memo to his humans about, when it's feeding time.
Oh, yeah.
It's feeding time. This is your first and only warning.
Dogs have an internal clock. They know, I don't care what the sun says and what the calendar says and what the clock says, they know what time it is.
Yeah.
And they will give you the stink eye if you don't, you do realize you're late.
That's right.
I have I dog sit a friend's dog who has to have a pill in the evening, and it's usually 7 o'clock, which is mixed in with a little piece of lunch meat or a little treat or something.
Yeah.
Well, when the time change...
Oh, that messes those dogs' timing?
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
No, it's not their timing. It's still that time, whatever that time is. But he just comes and stares at me like, maybe you should check your clock. You might be forgetting something here. I said, no, 5 o'clock is too early. You got to wait a little bit. And it's like, no.
Yeah, then it takes a few days for them to
I don't know that
acclimate.
they ever really, they just think that you should, hop to it when they're...
Yeah. No,
when they're telling you something.
And people can be that way too. They can be. We get into a rut, creatures of habit, and if things don't have, if they're doing road construction on that road that I take to get to work, that's terrible. Even though the road needs to be fixed or something like that. You know, we get mad. The traffic light's not working at First and Main. Well, that's totally inconvenient, and that's not acceptable. Why isn't that thing fixed?
Well, have you ever gotten in your car and you've headed to, say you take the same route to work every day, but you don't have to go to work that day.
Yeah.
And you just get in your truck, and your truck all of a sudden, you're almost ready in the parking lot, and you think, where the heck am I going? This is not the grocery store. I didn't need to go to work. You have to retrain your automobile.
Yeah, and it's the car that did that, folks. It's not the person driving the car.
No, the car thought it was supposed to be, the third parking lot from the corner on...
Yeah. That's right. There was a story. It was on the Wall Street Business Report earlier this morning how Elon Musk, who's the Tesla guy,
right,
the SpaceX guy,
yes,
the Boring Company. He's got a number of different boring, meaning boring a hole in the ground to build tunnels.
Yes.
Okay, not boring as in.
Well, he could be that too.
I guess he's decided his project this year is going to be to develop a automated home assistant, robot, android, something like that.
Why don't we just dumb down people dumber than they already are? And you wonder why people are overweight, because they sit on the couch and point, or they click.
We're heading to the Floaty Chairs. I'm telling you, the Floaty Chairs. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
The movie Wall-E.
Oh, yes.
Okay, the Floaty Chairs.
Okay.
All right.
But this is ridiculous. And I also read about him. Some teenager...
It's either that or Idiocracy. One or the other. We're headed to either Idiocracy or Floaty Chairs.
Well, you're going to have to be smart enough to operate the stupid robots that they're coming up with. But some teenager hacked his information was able to track his private jet. Did you read that?
Oh, Elon's private jet?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so he called him up, and he was broadcasting it on TikTok or something. So Elon got a hold of him and said, can you take this down? This is kind of a security thing, despite the fact that, Elon says that air traffic control is so primitive, because all of this information is out there anyhow.
Yeah.
You have a flight plan.
You can track planes
there.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. And the kid said, well, Elon was going to offer him $5,000 if he would take it down.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid countered with 50.
I want a plaid. I want a Tesla model plaid.
He said, give me 50,000. This will help with my college education and whatever else. It's like, no, don't be held hostage by a stupid kid. Just accept the fact that people can track you.
But you're right about these these robot assistants and stuff. I mean, there's still some things that we probably ought to do ourselves.
Yeah, like get up and go to the bathroom or something. I don't know.
or turn on the lights, or turn off the lights, or check the thermostat, or get the door,
have to strip the bed and wash the laundry once in a while.
We're getting pretty crazy with this.
We are very lazy now.
Yeah. But apparently what he wants to do is he wants to put off the Cybertruck, and he wants to put off developing any updates to the cars that they sell, and he wants to focus all of his attention on this robot assistant project that he's decided is more important than everything else. Well, that's when you have more money than God, and you can just play with stupid stuff. Well, he does have a lot of money, but he's an interesting character. I don't know.
Yeah.
If he's the best way to do, but anyway, he's had a lot of success with all that.
Interesting means you name your child something that nobody in the world can pronounce. Much less spell.
He's done that.
Yeah. I don't know if that came from him or his wife, but poor child.
Ex-wife now.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think they're together.
Okay. Well, were they even married?
Who knows?
Well, I thought, but whatever. I still feel sorry for the child being named X1ZQ, whatever it was. I don't know. Some bizarre thing. It's like, really? There's enough, quote, movie stars, famous people that name their children very bizarre things. What is it when you become a movie star that just kind of sets off a brain cell that causes you to name children, and their pets probably have good names?
Do you think that the person, or maybe the first known celebrity that started that trend was Frank Zappa?
Moon Zappa?
I don't know. Dweezil and Moon Unit, I think, were his kids.
Oh, Lord. I don't know. But why? Why?
Because they can.
Well, yeah, but so can I if I wanted to, but that doesn't mean I would. That makes no sense.
But have you seen how parents spell kids' names today?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, years, and this is years ago. A good friend of mine was she taught pre-kindergarten. There was a private kindergarten there in Deming, and she was one of the teachers. And she came one day and she says, I want you to just look at these names. Tell me how you would say these, and she had to, well, it's just like in this part of the country, though. There's a lot of names of, like, the Gila Forest. Foreigners, in other words, people from back east, have no clue as to how to...
Right.
Chiricahuas. There's just, you drive from here to California, and the names along there. If you didn't know what they were, there's no way you could figure out how to pronounce them just from seeing the spelling.
Right.
A child's name, I pity the poor teachers.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I remember that she had was Xochi, Xochi.
Well, we had a congresswoman who had a similar name.
That is more common now, but,
right.
50 years ago, it was not a common name.
That's right.
It was one of those like, oh my goodness. Now you hear it more often, but still.
Sure.
And there was when we had the architectural scavenger hunt years ago, the girl that won, she was 9, and I just happened to have been at a yard sale not too terribly long ago, and it was her grandmother was dealing with it, and she said, I want you to go across the street. Do you see that tree over there? It was huge. She says, that's a tree that Cecilia got. The way they spelled that name, I had to remember that that's how you said it when I saw, and I can't spell it.
Well,
for you right now,
I'll see that from
but,
time to time
yeah.
when we're doing ball games.
Oh yeah.
And I'll get the roster, and we'll go to read
you
the
have
names.
to write it out phonetically,
I
just
do.
so you know, or the common spelling
I
of
do.
it, so you know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
So you don't
You're from
butcher.
Deming.
Yes.
You popped up in my news feed the other day. There's a YouTube channel called Anywhere But Here.
Okay.
And they had their top 10 worst cities in New Mexico.
Was Lordsburg on there?
No.
No?
The number one worst city in New Mexico, according to this Anything But Here video, Deming, New Mexico.
Well, that's not a surprise. No, seriously. It's changed so much from what it used to be.
Yeah.
And I know everything changes.
Sure.
That's not the thing.
Yeah.
But even shortly after I moved away, the friend that Jackie, who had been the kindergarten teacher that I was referencing,
Right.
she said, "Oh, Linda, you don't want to come back here ever." She said it has changed so much. And she'd lived there the majority of her life. I mean, since she was a little kid, she went to school there.
Right.
You know, and was still there. And she said, it's so different. Everything is so different. We got a lot of foreigners. And foreigners, like I said, don't mean from across the ocean. They mean from the northern part of the United States or back east. That makes such a difference in
Here's
changing.
a comment. I guess no one has heard of Lordsburg, the absolute worst city in New Mexico.
Well, they used to say if they ever gave the country an enema, that's where they would put it, inject it, was in Lordsburg.
Well, here was the list. Number 10 was Bernalillo.
Okay.
Number 9, Taos.
Are these going from worst to better, or better? Are we starting at the bottom of the list, working?
We're
our
starting
way
at the
up to
bottom of the
top?
list, working up
Okay.
to the top of the list. So the 10th worst
And
city.
Taos is 9?
Taos came in at number 9.
Huh.
Albuquerque at number 8.
Yeah, crime capital.
Roswell came in at number 7.
Up there with crime.
Las Vegas, number 6. Anthony at number 5. Socorro at number 4. Belen at number 3. Gallup at number 2. And the number 1 worst place in New Mexico, according to this list, was Deming.
I'd like to know what their criteria was. What made it the worst?
Education, crime, and then income, poverty level thing.
Yeah.
And so Deming, I think, had a lot of crime, not really good schools, and low average income numbers.
I'm
So
surprised
those.
Columbus wasn't on there, being so close to the board.
Well, I think Anthony took
for
that
poverty.
spot.
Okay.
And we didn't even make the honorable mention. Artesia
So
didn't
what-
even make the honorable mention on there.
So what? There had to be another list to go along with it, as in they usually put the worst and then the best.
Again, what's the name of the YouTube channel?
I don't know.
Anywhere
Oh, yeah.
but
Okay.
here.
Anywhere
So
but here.
why would they have a top 10
Well,
best
sometimes
place?
they have a comparison, or
No,
you'll see
this-
it on
this
a
site does
travel
not
thing,
have a
and this is the
comparison.
worst place to retire or the best place to retire, And they'll have some sort of
Yeah,
criteria.
Not on that website. If your website is anywhere but here, you're going to list
figure it out.
places not to live. So, yeah. But you're from Deming, and Deming came up as the number 1 place not to live in New Mexico.
Well,
And you don't live there anymore.
No,
so.
when I was a kid, I always swore I would never say that, because I got so sick of my parents saying, when I was a kid, we had to walk, 10 miles to school in the snow. But
Yep.
I thought, I'm never going to say that.
Yeah.
But you can't reference things that happened years ago unless you say, when
Yeah.
I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I think
know,
I think
the
there was an
crime
acceptable way to say it. It was back in the day.
Okay, back in the good old days, or back in the day. Yes.
Back in the day, yeah. Back in the day. Okay. Instead of
guess-
saying when you were a kid, you just say, well, back in the day.
Yeah, I'm sure there was crime, but not like it is today.
Yeah.
Because, we walked all over town. We'd walk from the movie theater, which was downtown, all the way home, which
Yeah.
I lived, I don't know how many blocks, say 12 blocks, maybe.
Yeah.
And at night? Come on.
Yep.
You know, you wouldn't anymore walk 2 blocks in the dark at night now.
Yeah.
You know, for fear of whatever might happen.
Crime was a big factor in a lot of these lists, and so Roswell's got a lot of crime. Albuquerque has a ton of murders and a ton of property crime. Their education is in the bottom half of the rankings of the education across the state. I'm guessing that's probably why Artesia didn't make the bottom 10 list, because while we have crime, I don't think it's as bad as other places, and while we have good schools. And I'm guessing our median income is probably closer to the average median income, if not maybe a little better than some other parts of New Mexico. Anthony was on the list because it's like poverty. Half the people there live underneath the poverty level, and the schools don't have a very good rating there. So that's under their criteria. That's right. That's what they were. There's other criteria, obviously, that are used to make these lists, but they used poverty level, quality of the schools, and crime as their in those categories. Taos, okay schools, but a lot of people, and you would think, well, why would Taos be there? It's an art capital, but you have art and you have skiing, and if both of those industries, if you will, suffer, then what else is there for folks to do? And I would think that those two things have probably been hammered pretty hard by the COVID shutdowns.
Could have been. Could have been.
So they've got decent schools, but they've got some crime and they've got some poverty issues, and that's why Taos winds up on that on that list. So,
but that's not a whole lot different than Santa Fe being an artsy place.
No, but I'm guessing their income levels are probably a little higher, and their schools might be, halfway decent.
Well, my question.
But they have state government, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
they have
even though the Democrats don't want anybody to be there.
Hitler that runs our established. Ooh, and she's substitute teaching. Woohoo! Wouldn't that be a treat? When there is a state.
All right, children, what is 2 + 2? 5.
Yeah. When there is a state that has a phenomenal school system, curriculum-wise, SATs are out the, off the charts, everything. They excel like crazy. Wouldn't that be something that, hey, you know what? Norfolk, Virginia, or Virginia's school system is phenomenal. Why don't we see what curriculum there, as in our illustrious education people that are supposed to be the gurus in the state that choose for all of us? Why would you not think that they would say, hey, you know what, this is pretty good?
Yeah.
Do they think our kids are too dumb that they wouldn't be able to do the work?
Don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah. Well, why not pick something that has a good track record? Hey, this is the curriculum they've been using. This is good. Why don't we implement it in our state and see what it can do?
Well, another question you might ask, too, is the schools in Norfolk, Virginia. Wait a minute. Virginia, they just fired the governor and put in all new people because of critical race theory and all this other kind of stuff they're forcing down the
When my grandkids
kids
were all there, and they've lived in Norfolk twice, which made a total of at least 7 years.
Yeah.
The school systems were incredible. What they offered for electives were incredible. They were not sissy classes. They were orchestra. They were
I think the question to be,
they were
based on recent history, with what happened and why the people got rid of McAuliffe and put Youngkin in. The new attorney general, they elected a new attorney general, and he fires 30 people on the staff because they weren't investigating things like the rapist that was in the that was shoveled between 2 different schools there in Virginia. So I don't, do the Norfolk, Virginia schools have autonomy to develop and establish their own curriculum and set their own electives and set their own process up, or are they under the authority of a state education department that says thou shalt do this, 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 this,
well,
and
that
this,
I couldn't
like we
answer.
are in New Mexico?
I just know the kids got a fabulous education, and then from there they had ended up moving to Tennessee, and they were so far ahead in the same grade because Tennessee was so behind. But
but there's a lot of people moving to Tennessee because they're not doing mask mandates and they're not doing vaccine mandates and stuff like that. I saw an article, I think it was in the Roswell paper, that there's a nursing shortage in New Mexico, as we know. We got all these people in the hospital and COVID and everything else, and I think the number, I'll have to go reread it, but I think it was like 6,500 or 6,200. We're short. Over 6,000 nurses.
That is way too many
I need to
people.
read the article because I want to know if anybody in the article found out how many nurses left the healthcare industry in New Mexico because of the vaccine mandate. So of that 6,500, is it 100? Is it 1,000? Is it
6,000?
2,000? I don't think it's 6,000, but what number is that? And is anybody at the state level saying maybe we need to go back on this vaccine mandate here and reconsider so that we can try to get some of these nurses that have left? And you may not get any of them back. They may have moved to other states. They may have gone into a totally different area of healthcare.
When you think of, and I don't say a nurse is a first responder, but let's call it that. On the front lines, doctors, nurses, firemen, police.
Right.
Don't tell them what they have to do. Those are people that you absolutely cannot do without.
That's right.
Absolutely. Don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Because when you need one of them, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You need them think about that.
You need them to be there.
Yes.
And maybe with the prior variants of the coronavirus, it was more of a important option on the vaccination side of things. But with the Omicron variants, each one of these variants, the vaccine is less effective at preventing contraction of the virus. You can still get the virus, you can still get symptomatic from the virus, and you can still spread the virus to other people.
Yeah, but maybe it's not going to kill you right now.
Well, exactly. But is that so important of a thing to do, knowing what we know now about the effectiveness of the vaccines against the Omicron variant and so forth? Is that still, we're 6,500 nurses short in our hospitals across the state of New Mexico. By God, you're not going to work in healthcare if you're not vaccinated in this state, even though that may allow hundreds of people to come back.
They better just wear a phenomenal KN95 mask.
Oh, I'm sure they're available. I'm sure they're available.
Because I don't want somebody that's packing a virus to breathe on me if I'm not sick and I'm going to the hospital.
Oh, I understand.
I don't want to come out in worse shape than I went in.
Yeah.
Because that's not why you go.
That's not why you go. But it's one of the questions that when you have a top-down management of everything, whether it's the federal government down or the state government down, whether it's your education, whether it's your health care, when you have a top-down management of this thing, then you create these situations as a result of these deals.
Yeah, maybe you don't think it through before you dictate what somebody's supposed to do.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
You have to look at the end result.
Ooh, it's 9:29. We touched on the no trees.
That's right. But you need to start thinking about creating. Get your creative juices flowing for recycled art. Let's have a really good show this year. Let's pack that foyer promenade at the library.
Can I do something recycled art out of all these masks that I find laying around on the sidewalks and the streets?
Well, if you put enough microban on them, I guess you could. We may have to encase them in something. But Lysol and microban, go for it.
Oh, I've got my little ion sanitizer here, so.
Cool. But that's the most disgusting thing, people. That is not.
Yeah, don't do those for recycled art.
You had it on your face. Pick it up. If it falls on the ground, and go put it in the trash. That's disgusting.
It is. It is.
Right up there with the dirty diapers.
We don't want to do any recycled art with that.
No, we prefer not. But please, people, in the litter category, there's no reason why we also need to look. There could be a list on Anywhere But Here, or whatever that was, the dirtiest city, and we don't want to be on that list.
That's
people.
right.
That's not something we want to be known for. And there are times, look around, people. you can't depend on the wind to take it all to Lovington.
Yeah. So if
You
if
have
you
got to help
pick it
clean
up and
up.
put it in there. But on the recycled art, we're not talking about. We're
No.
talking about taking something that was something else.
Yes,
It
repurpose,
has
upcycle, recycle.
Finished its purpose in life. It is no longer used for whatever it was originally intended for. What could it be in the world of art?
And art doesn't mean that it has to be a sculpture or it has to hang on the wall. It can be anything, actually. I mean, wearable. We had some jewelry one year that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it was all recycled pieces and wires, and, you know, it was pretty sharp looking.
Yeah.
They had done an excellent job. So, and I talk about pallets a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's free wood. And you recycle those and to all kinds of things. I mean, watch HGTV. They're always doing stuff out of and recycling or uppurposing or.
So someone wants to learn more. They want to find out what the parameters are, what's accepted.
You can call me.
Call you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We have to remind the 575 because you don't want to chew out your phone for not putting the call through. Then a 748-3192.
Or talking to get a hold of somebody in the Ukraine, if you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Is this Artesia clean and beautiful? No. This is the Russian front.
Trust me, if you don't dial that 575, your call ain't going anywhere. Yes. We're so used to cell phones where it just, you push the person's name.
I know.
You don't automatically have to remember to dial the 575.
So when would you like to have people have their pieces ready to go to be displayed?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that. Just a second. Let me get my... I don't have these numbers. I've been looking at so many in the last couple of days. So the 3rd is a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have them, or at least know that
The
you're...
3rd of
March.
March, okay.
That you might be, that you will be bringing something anytime before that.
Mm-hmm.
And then on that Thursday, we will be setting up at the library. If you choose to bring them to me ahead of time, that's fine.
But you're in a basement.
I'm in a basement. So if they're small, that's fine. If they're big and awkward,
They're not going in the basement.
and the wind might do damage,
Yeah.
we have been known to have wind at that time. It's better if they just make it from your car to the library early that morning,
On the 3rd.
and we'll set up. Yeah,
Okay.
and then we'll judge the next day and take down on the 19th.
Okay.
There will be ribbons and, prizes, monetary, and of course, you can always vote for your
So you've
favorite,
got
people's choice.
You've got the month of February to work on this and put
Oh,
these
yeah.
items together. so-
Yes.
Okay.
You've had 3 years to do
That's true, because it's been that long.
when you've been sitting around in the house wanting to do something, you could be creative. I've kind of talked to that every once in a while. Get your creative juices going. You could have this as a family project, or get the kids to come up with something really cool. Like I said, repurpose, upcycle, recycle, reuse, and elaborate on it. There's so many things that you can do, and there's still so many books and magazines that you can get that give you helpful hints.
So what's your phone number again?
575 748-3192. And you can always leave a message, because like right now I'm not there. So,
Right.
and there are times, yesterday the phone rang a lot.
Yeah.
But there are times when it doesn't. But if I walk out that door,
That's when it's going to ring.
Yes. That's Murphy's Law.
I know,
Whoever
he's-
Murphy was and how this started, I have no idea.
I don't like
But
Murphy. He's
He's
not a good character.
No.
Linda, thank you as always. Enjoy your
Alrighty.
blueberry muffin from McDonald's.
Yes, I know. I think there's like 5 pounds in each one of them.
All right. And folks, learn more and get involved in the Recycled Art program.
Yes, and we will have a Great American Cleanup this spring, too.
Good,
So,
good.
There's all kinds of things.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
All right, Linda, thanks. We're going to take a quick break, open up the Zoom room.